How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
What up, Will?
What up?
Dude, it's another week.
Another week.
Another week.
Night of fights.
More fights. Yes. Welcome, everybody, to Story of the Fight. My name's Merrill. That's my boy, Will.
What up?
In the background, we have Rich, the producer, producing the show. We always see the smoother transitions, right, whenever Rich is here?
Yeah, it's obvious when he's here.
But this is where we talk all things mixed martial arts. It could be from Ryzen, One, UFC, Bellator. Just kidding.
Nah, never Bellator.
Damn, dude, that's messed up.
But yeah, have you noticed that though? We literally never cover Bellator.
I know. Did
we even talk about Fedor?
Hey, we even talk Combate sometimes.
Yeah, we don't even talk about it.
But hey,
together.
If you even remotely our podcast, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Goes a long way. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. 2K. Yes. And if you don't like watching, but you like listening, you have Spotify, Breaker, Podcast Radio, Public Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor FM, anywhere podcasts are found, and social media as well.
Yeah, it's at Story of the Fight on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, Twitch, everywhere. Story of the Fight, storyofthefight.com. It'll list all the links. Just go there. Just go through each one and follow it. It's easy.
Like it. We make it so easy.
Yeah.
Hey, so last night I'm at a work function, right? There's a bunch of us having a good time, and my boy Rush, shout out my boy Rush, who's like, hey, dude, I really like the episode with Toasty on. He's a fan of Toasties.
Yeah.
And I know, right? And he's like, dude, and I just love the fact that you guys went through the fight with him and you broke down the fight, watching it with you. He's like, and the way that guy spit out the mouthpiece to try to buy some time. What was that? And I was like, dude, Rush, I'm telling you. But Rush listens to every episode.
Shout out Rush.
Shout out Rush, dude. He's a good dude, man. Good dude. Rush, a.k.a. Rusty. All right. That being said, we did have some fights last night. We're not going to cover all the 11 fights, but we'll cover, I think it was 8 fights. 8 fights.
Most of them. We'll skip a couple.
Yeah, we'll skip a couple. Yeah. We only got an hour. We could really go longer, but.
Yeah. And I put in the title, best card of all time. So maybe stick around to the end. We'll decide.
Yeah, I don't know. But we had the main event. We can go right into it right now.
Yeah.
We had Andrade versus Blanchfield. Yes. So Rich points out the fact that he feels like every time we do a podcast, we're talking about Jessica Andrade because it seems like she's fighting every week. She's active.
She has been.
She's active.
What did she fight 2 weeks ago?
I don't know. She's pretty active, though.
Before this fight, she fought January 21st, so about a month ago.
Was that another main event?
Yeah, no. It was when she beat the brakes off Lauren Murphy.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, we had Jessica Andrade versus Erin Blanchfield last night.
Yeah.
What did you think of this fight?
Going into it, I was like, man, Andrade is obviously a killer, but coming back after a month, I don't know if that's the best move, especially up a weight class where she's had success, but she's also lost. And I think Blanchfield is the real deal. So I was like, she was supposed to fight Santos before this, right?
Yeah.
And then Santos had to pull out. So then they put Andrade in. And I was like, man, short notice taking on Blanchfield. I don't think you have enough time to figure her out. It's not like she's anything super unorthodox or very really creative in there, but she's very good. So I was like, man, taking her on a short notice is much harder than I think taking Andrade on short notice, because you know what Andrade is going to do.
Yeah.
She's going to walk forward. She's going to have decent head movement and just throw hooks all day at you and try to knock you out. You can at least be like, I know what I know what to expect taking her on short notice, but taking Blanchfield on short notice, she's got way too many things in her arsenal. that you have to worry about. You don't know what her game plan is going to be. So I was like, Blanchfield's probably going to take this. And then she went out there and did pretty much exactly that. I was super impressed.
Yeah, and I mean, Blanchfield came in ranked, what was it, 10th?
10, yeah.
10. Andrade ranked 3rd. So this was a huge opportunity for Blanchfield.
Yeah, this
man,
picture right here is the story of the fight.
Yes, both girls came out swinging. You
Mhm.
mentioned Andrade's hooks. Blanchfield had the ability to have this big step-in lead right from a distance, man, that kept on landing.
Yeah.
Andrade. But, hey, props to both girls because they both came out swinging that first round, both of them over
Mhm.
50 strikes.
Yeah,
That first
it was a solid
round.
fight.
It was fun. It was fun. Now, I thought Blanchfield did a really good job of continuing to circle to her right, trying to avoid and stay away from Andrade's big right hook. But I'm with you there, right? With Jessica Andrade, we know what we're getting.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what they're getting.
Yeah.
But props to Jessica
A
Andrade
banger.
because even though everybody knows what you're getting, girl still won 24 fights. She's 24
Well, that's what
and
they
10.
Yeah, who was the fight that it just happened? I forgot what it was. Oh, the Islam fight. Eugene Behrman was talking about how everybody knows what you're going to get when you fight Islam Makhachev, but that doesn't make it any easier to stop it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So if you're good
100%.
enough, you don't have to be a surprise.
Yeah, it's like the Tennessee Titans with Henry.
I don't know who that
Derrick
is.
Henry. They know they're going to run it down your throat, but you just can't stop them.
Man, football seems weird nowadays.
but
But I mean, if you're fighting Andrade, it's movement and straight punches, right? Because you need to beat her to the punch. When she's throwing those hooks, you can just snipe her with the straight punches and stop her in her tracks. But what Blanchfield also did on top of that, which was really good, was you see like Rampage Jackson really adapted like some boxing defense, a style of boxing defense in MMA, and made it work, where he kept his elbows glued to his ribs, right? Which is good for certain types of striking, right? But what Blanchfield did was the exact opposite. She kept her elbows flared out. And what she did by that was be able to catch and frame off the hooks so that it's not like she's not blocking them here where it's still like knocking her head around. She's catching them like out here. So the hook's not even coming, her hands aren't even coming close to landing on her head.
Or if
because
it
even if
does,
you shell up,
it's more like you're making the punch
yeah.
now go exactly.
Yeah, because with even if you shell up like a high guard, like Justin Gaethje style high guard against someone like Andrade, those hooks might hit your forearms and stuff like that, but they're still knocking you around, and like that's not ideal, obviously. So like her ability to keep her elbows out and frame off the hooks and keep them away, coupled with the footwork and the straight punches, it was like, man, this is going to be a long night for Andrade, I think. And then the second round started, and she got that inside trip past side control, and then Andrade gives up her back, chokes her out. I mean,
Were you
maybe it was
surprised
not
how
a long
easy
night.
she made that look?
No, because I don't think Andrade. Look, I don't want to make any excuses and diminish Blanchfield's win, but I don't think Andrade knew what she was getting into. So I don't think she had like a sense of urgency. Like, I mean, she's a tank. She's used to running through people. She probably saw Blanchfield.
Underestimated then is what you're saying?
I think she there's a little bit of that, I think. Because, yeah, she got the inside trip, passed, took it back, choked her out immediately. And I just don't think Andrade really knew what she was getting into. But I mean, she's a professional. She knew what she was getting. Maybe a little bit, but.
I mean, I was surprised to see because I believe Andrade is a black belt as well.
Probably.
Maybe
yeah.
a black belt from the Nogueira brothers.
Yeah.
As Chelsea used to say, But
Yeah.
I was surprised that it was just so easy for Blanchfield to transition into side control. And then, she seemed like she kind of was able to just have her way on the ground with Andrade.
I mean, also probably after that first round, Andrade. So the whole first half of the round, in the first round, Blanchfield was really stinging her with those straight punches. And eventually Andrade kind of adapted and started landing her own shots towards the end of the round. Some people even gave Andrade the first round. I think one judge did too. I don't know how that's possible, but that goes to show you the last statement of the round can sway people, because I mean the whole first half was Blanchfield like stunning her almost. But I think she kind of felt more comfortable when she was like, okay, cool, we're brawling now. Like I'm gonna start working my magic, and then immediately just gets clinched and tripped, and she was probably like, oh shit, and had to like switch gears, but that's what happens when you with someone like Blanchfield. She's not just a striker, she's not just a wrestler. Her jiu-jitsu is very good, but she's not just a jiu-jitsu player. Like, she's very good everywhere.
Yeah. One of those new school fighters that kind of comes up doing everything,
Well, I think she started training MMA when she was like 7.
Yeah. That's
She's
nuts,
23. Dude. Is she 23? I saw a comment that said Blanchfield is
23. Are you sure?
She is 23 years old, dude. She was born in 99.
Holy smokes.
Her birthday is the day after mine. But I saw a comment that was like, Blanchfield is who Macy Barber thought she was.
Oh,
I was like,
man.
damn. And that is very true. It's very true, man. I mean, her only loss in her career is against Tracy Cortez in Invicta, and that was 2019.
Oh,
so
Tracy
4
Cortez,
years ago.
single again, by the way.
Yeah, that was 4 years ago. That's her only loss, and she was 19.
Wow,
I mean, that's crazy.
crazy.
Since then,
All
she's
right,
on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fight win streak now, and we're looking at finish Americana, a head kick knockout, decision, guillotine, Kimura, and now a rear naked choke. I mean,
oh, she's finishing girls.
yeah, and I mean, dude, Miranda Maverick, JJ Aldrich, man, Molly McCann, but I think
Meatball
people
Molly?
now know. Yeah, I mean, she ran through her. Remember that? She crucifixed her and then Kimura her. But yeah, she's the real deal, man. She's a legitimate title contender, I think.
Ooh.
She'll get.
Right.
I mean, she might have one more fight, but Andrade is ranked number 3.
And you really mean this? You're not saying like Anik, right? After any women's fight
No.
that he sees where he's like, we got ourselves a contender on our hands.
No, I mean, it is in this division, which is very shallow. You have 3 now. You have 3 clear contenders now. You have Alexa Grasso, you have Taila Santos, and now you have Blanchfield. Will any of them be able to beat Shevchenko? Who knows?
Only time will tell. We'll see.
But I'm actually interested. Somehow.
I mean, Blanchfield's only 23, so she might end up.
She might be a champ.
Shevchenko ends up being 50, still holding the belt. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a waiting game for her at this point. I mean, I don't see anybody else who could beat her. I'd love to see that Santos fight, though. That's a cool matchup now,
Taila Santos, man, she's a real deal too.
Yeah. Why does she have to pull out? Do you remember?
I think we cover it during the moment of silence
for this card. Oh, I mean, we'll. Oh, I remember now. Okay.
All right.
If you want to find out, stay tuned.
Oh, nice. All right,
now we have the card.
Yes, Zach Pauga versus Jordan Wright.
Pauga.
This was a co-main event. This was at light heavyweight.
Did I hear you right? Jordan Wright versus Zach Pauga was a co-main event?
Co-main event, dude. Co-main event. Jordan Wright looks so happy the entire time.
Yeah, I'm interested to see like what his mindset is in this one. Feel for him because they were talking about how his mom passed away like a month before this, which means he probably already was training for this fight. Probably could have pulled. I would probably pull out.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I wonder if he was just like in a weird headspace, like this is what I love to do, because he was just smiling the whole fight. He was losing the whole fight, but smiling the whole time. Yeah, kind of a weird performance from him where normally, and maybe it has more to do with Pauga's game plan, but normally Jordan Wright is very much like just a brawler in there, Say what you will about his record, but the dude's in exciting fights every time.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it, though, is Pauga's game plan.
Well, this was a middleweight.
Clinch.
Yeah, this was a middleweight going up to light heavyweight to face a heavyweight going down to light heavyweight. So, I mean, I expected kind of a grappling heavy approach from Pauga, but man, just like I hate to say stuff like this because it's like I know they're going in there and they're trying super hard and it's really difficult and it takes a lot to do it, but just zero finishing instinct from Pauga. Zero.
Yeah, and man, for me it was the urgency or the lack thereof. There was times where Pauga would clinch in the center of the octagon and slowly walk Jordan Wright back to the cage. And he seemed very content with being walked back and being placed back up against the cage where, when somebody clinches in the center with some explosive moves, it's a lot easier to get out of the clinch in the center than it
yeah.
is when you're pinned up against the cage and you're fighting for underhooks, trying to gain better position, right? So
Yeah.
this fight was a very interesting one for me. I do give props to Laura Sanko, who said right in the giblets when
Yeah, solid. She was good all night.
she was good. This was
She
my
said
first time listening to her because the last card that she
you
was
ever watched
on.
the Contender series?
No. I
Not
don't really
missing
watch
much.
Contender series.
Not missing
The
much.
last card she was on, I didn't really I didn't really watch it, but she did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I thought she did good. She had a line at the Blanchfield fight where she was like, what did she say? She's like stone cold babyface killer or some shit like or gangster, and I was like, damn.
No, I think it's like anything else, right? They're working towards gaining a feel for each other.
Yeah, there's
few
some
times
kind of
that
weird
she
chemistry
talked
issues.
over. Yeah. Like she would kind of wait for Felder, and then Felder would kind of wait for her, and then they both kind of talk at the same time. So then one would have to take over.
Yeah,
And
like
then
it was
she
like
would talk
us when
over
we
your
first
boy.
started.
Yeah. But again, she did a really good job, man. And
Yeah, no, she nailed it.
all the other stuff will get ironed out. I'm excited to
Exactly.
see what she'd be like with what's his name?
Who?
I can't think of his name right now. The guy with
Dominic
one eye.
Cruz?
Bisping?
Oh, Bisping. Oh, it was
Yeah.
bad.
Was it?
bad. It was real bad.
Oh man. All right. Well,
Yeah.
Felder's just
But not on her fault. It
professional,
was
man.
it was Bisping being really bad.
Really? He usually
Yeah,
does
I
a
mean,
pretty good job.
he was almost like not taking anything she said like seriously and like
Oh,
cutting
what
her
an
off
asshole.
and like I was like, come on, man, what are you doing?
Come on, bro. It's your first time. Make it easier for her, you know?
Yeah, her and
Jeez.
Felder was much better. I really like Felder as a commentator. He went hard this week too.
Oh, I love that guy.
But yeah, this fight.
I know we've said it before, but I just love how Felder gives the fighters an opportunity to talk post-fight interview.
And he asked questions like about like really interesting questions about the fight, like moments in the fight where it's like something that you would think like while you're watching it, like, oh, I wonder what that's like or something like that. And he'll, instead of just like, how does it feel to win? He's like, hey, in the second round, this happened. Like, what were your thoughts during that? Like, that's what I want to hear. That's way cooler.
Yeah.
It's like what the post-fight press conference is, but in the cage,
Yep.
Much
We all
better.
know that they're excited to win.
Yeah. It feels great,
All right, man. Did you want to move on to the next one?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that fight was pretty bad.
All right. We had Marcin Prachnio versus
Yeah,
William Knight.
We're skipping Parisian versus Pogues because that was also awful. But yeah, Prachnio versus Knight, also awful, but at least fun to talk about.
Yes, I mean it was a leg kicking clinic.
This picture right here was pretty much the whole fight. It was Prachnio with the game face being aggressive, kind of, and then William Knight standing there like that.
I mean, what I don't
Might
understand.
as well have his hands behind his back.
Prachnio comes out, starts with the leg kicks right away.
Yeah,
right.
Obvious.
In
right?
the first
the
2.5 minutes, on the first 2.5 minutes, William Knight had only thrown one strike. Prachnio had kicked the shit out of his left leg already. And at some point, you think there'd be an adjustment.
Yeah.
At some point. You're like, okay, we're 2.5 minutes into the first round. This is obviously a heavy part of his game plan, if not all his game plan.
Yeah.
What can I do to counter this? And continuing to move back and move back and move back and just get your leg kicked.
So, yeah, I mean, within that first minute, Prachnio had landed some pretty nice heavy leg kicks. And on like the third or fourth one, William Knight kind of gave him a look that was like, come on, man, are we really doing this? And then Prachnio was like, I'll just keep doing this if you're not going to do anything else. And eventually, in the second round, it was just William Knight standing with his back against the fence, keeping his leg up because it hurt so bad.
Just like the picture right now that Rich put up.
It's literally that the whole fight. And people are going to shit talk Prachnio maybe. I hope not, because why would he do anything else? Why bother doing anything else and put yourself at risk of getting hit? Because obviously, I mean, look at William Knight. Obviously, the guy's going to hit hard. It's like, why put yourself in the danger when you can just stay on the outside and just blow up his leg the whole time? So I don't want to. I hope people
Any fighter will take the easiest route to success.
And they should. And that's not much the easiest route. Well, yeah, the easiest route, but also path of least resistance, the path that's not going to get you more brain damage. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And William Knight and props to Prachnio, he kept coming up over the top too, landing the high kick off the leg kick, right? He'd throw the leg kick like 20 times, land him a bunch of times, and then eventually he'd start throwing him up high too, and William Knight would eat him.
I just
But
don't get it.
and it was funny speaking of Felder in the post-fight interview, he's like, can we show this man's foot? And they show it, and it's like super swollen because, like, dude, it doesn't feel good to leg kick somebody. It feels worse getting leg kicked, but it doesn't feel good leg kicking somebody. It still hurts.
Yeah.
You're kicking someone in the knee with the softest part of your foot where there's no meat on it. So his foot's super swollen, and Felder's like, I mean, look at this guy, Warrior. Like, he's still kicking through this. Like, what was your mindset with that? And Proctor was like, yeah, once this happened, I switched to the other leg, and it's like, come on, Proctor, just be like, yeah, I'm a warrior. I fought through it. He basically was like, I didn't keep throwing this kick.
But he's like, no, it hurt really bad, guys, and I stopped.
Yeah, and I stopped doing that once that started happening. But also Felder in the third round, I talked about being a savage in the booth. I mean, did you hear him? He was like, I don't understand why Knight even showed up. Like, he's just not fighting. Like, he's just not. And I was like, damn, dude. And then
It's true,
Laura Sanko is like trying to be a little bit more political, and she was like, yeah, but it's hard when you're getting leg kicked. But also, I mean, I guess that leads to it, and then him not fighting kind of led to getting leg kicked. she tried to play like devil's advocate and was like, no,
it's not gonna work.
It's not possible.
This was a really weird one for me, man.
I mean, William Knight landed. Okay, things like Hamzat, right? When Hamzat came on and he took the division by storm, right? He's taking people down, he's smashing them, and he's not getting hit, right? His like first 3 fights, he got hit like 3 times or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's because of his style. His style is immediate takedown, smashing you. You don't really have time to punch him because you're like, oh, you're defending position until it's over.
Yeah.
This fight, William Knight landed 3 strikes in the first round, 1 in the second round, 4 in the third, and there was 0 grappling, 0 control time, just a pure stand-up fight where he landed 3, 1, and then 4. That's crazy.
Knight is so explosive, man, and he's so powerful. And
is he explosive?
He is, though. We've seen him be explosive before, man.
I don't remember anything about him being explosive.
With the thing with Knight is that it's short spurts.
Yeah, well, anybody with that build, right? It's gonna be.
Yeah, but the calf kick started taking the UFC by storm. Everybody started doing the calf kick. And what's one of the best ways to have somebody stop calf kicking you?
Explosiveness.
They land the calf kick, you explode straight ahead, counter it, and you punch them right in the face, right? But he was just so content with eating it, stepping back, eating it, stepping back. It almost seemed like, and man, I don't know what's going on, so I don't want to say too much. And again, these guys are stepping in the octagon, right? But like, you're going in there to collect a check, dude. Like just saying, like, hey, let me just get this night over with.
Yeah.
Like, let me just get not get knocked out.
I feel like there has to be something behind the scenes. Like, there has to be something, because it was just so weird. I almost texted you and you were like, hey, which fights do I need to watch? I haven't been able to watch. I almost was like, dude, the Proctor Knight fight, just to get you excited for it, and then just be like, when does it get good?
What happened?
Just wait the whole fight.
I've been so pissed, dude. Yeah. Like, what the hell? All right. Do you want to move on?
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on. We had Alexander Hernandez. Yeah. Alexander Hernandez versus Jim Miller. Jim Miller, for me, is always must watch. I love watching Jim Miller.
This was a great fight.
It was.
This is a fantastic fight. HLB Comer, shout out HLB Comer, saying, just do it, Tyler.
He said, what's up, my beautiful boys? Shout out HLB Comer, man.
Shout out HLB Comer. I am sorry that you had to stay up and watch this card. If you stayed up and watched this card.
And that's saying something, because Will likes a lot of different cards. He sees the good in all cards.
Yeah, it's a tough one with this one. But speaking of the good in the card, this was a good fight.
Yeah, Hernandez versus Jim Miller. Again, for me, Jim Miller is must-watch TV. Part of it is just that he always throws down, willing to put on exciting fights. The other part is just the nostalgia, man. He's been around forever.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Alexander Hernandez, we've seen spurts of greatness.
Well, they always say, like, skill-wise, it's there. He's a very skilled fighter.
Yes.
It's just he hasn't been able to put things together. And it's almost like kind of sometimes like when the going gets tough, he maybe steps off the gas a little bit. Which is no.
When
I mean,
going
I would
gets
too.
tough, you get going. Like
Some people
you
do.
leave. You leave.
Yeah, you leave. Yeah, and he had an opportunity to do that in this fight. Jim Miller, in my opinion, won the first round. He looked very good, and then Alex kind of came on really strong, and he kind of made some reads because Alex is one of those guys who can, if you're kind of like a stationary fighter, like a traditional fighter, Alex's style will pick you apart, and he kind of started to in the second round. And props to Jim Miller, is tough as nails because. I mean, he ate some big shots. He was bloodied up, and he's still coming
Yeah.
forward. He's like, how old is he? He's got to be like 40, right?
60?
He's 39 years
Okay.
old. So, I mean, he's taking big shots from a guy who hits pretty hard. And then in the third round, the going got tough for Alex Hernandez. He could have given up. He could have given up on that choke at the end of the fight.
Yep.
But he didn't. He stuck with it. And yeah, I mean, it was a good fight. I'm happy about it. HLB Comer says, "Just do it, Tyler" was a fancy way to combine your T-shirts. By the way, I'm sure Rich got those references. I like it. I was like, "Just do it, Tyler."
Funny.
I'm not sure what that's from, but yeah.
Who's Tyler? All right. But yeah, so with for me, this fight was
What a great
the
shot.
battle of who's going first for a little bit, because first round for me, it seemed like whoever was able to get their shots off first was the one that was really putting on the extra pressure and that was landing more shots. And man, Jim Miller with that little blitz, the 3-punch combo blitz to close the distance to come in. I feel like he was really like Hernandez really wasn't expecting that in that first round.
He was probably like, wait, 39 years old and he's this explosive?
Yeah, what's going on?
That's not supposed to happen.
But dude, the fight was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this fight. And I don't like Miller's not going to make another run for the title.
No, at this point, the run for Jim Miller is getting to UFC 300. That's all anybody cares about. That's all he cares about. He said he wants to have UFC 300 be his 45th fight. So I think he needs 2 more by then. I mean, come on. The guy's fought at UFC 100 and 200. That's all that matters in his career at this point.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to get the belt. That's fine. But fighting at UFC 100, 200, and 300, like,
no,
that's pretty fucking cool, dude. Like,
that is awesome.
That's amazing.
But he's still good.
Yeah, I mean, he's still in there. I mean, he was on a 4-fight win streak or something like that, right? 3-fight. This would have been 4. And all finishes.
Thanks a lot,
he knocked out our boy.
Hernandez.
He knocked out our boy Eric Gonzalez. Shout out Eric Gonzalez. He's fighting next week.
Ghost Pepper.
He knocks out Nicholas Mota, and then he guillotines Cerrone, and then they give him a young killer, and he almost got him out of there. He almost finished him in the third.
So close.
Yeah, but props to Hernandez. I'm glad to see him kind of put it together because say what you will about his like antics, and he really tried to come into the UFC and be like, I'm a shit talker, and he's like talking about Donald Cerrone. He's like, I'm gonna retire this guy. Like he's old. Like we just watched. I'm the new breed. All this stuff, and then he just got completely smoked. And ever since then, it's been a weird kind of game with him. But I mean, every single one of his fights is exciting.
Yeah.
What was his last fight? His last fight was really fun too. Billy the Kid. That was a banger.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
That was a great fight.
Any fight with Billy the Kid Quarantillo is good, dude.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, it really is. Shout out HLB Comer says Tyler Durden from Fight Club. Put that on your list after Star Wars.
Oh, dude. All right. My list is growing.
Club, right?
Yeah, I've seen Fight Club, but you know how it's been so long, man.
It was great.
It's been so long. All right. Before that fight, we had Nazim Sadikov versus Evan Elder.
Talk about the good of the card. I mean, this fight was fucking awesome. This fight was so sick.
A couple guys
swinging and banging. A technical brawl. You know, it wasn't like they were just hooking with each other. Like they were mixing in like uppercuts and elbows and like knees and mixing in takedown attempts. And I mean, what a fun fight. You got to feel for Evan Elder. I just love
how. So the lead straight worked for both of them a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And then, so you see them trade those. And then Sadikov comes in with a right and drops Elder. Elder comes in with the right, drops Sadikov. Second round, Elder gets a takedown early in the round. Sadikov gets a takedown later in the round. I'm like, what is going on right here?
Just a great fight, dude.
But they all wanted to get something back. No matter what the exchange was, they all wanted to end the exchange with them having something at the end, which I thought was awesome. And even something as simple as like Elder would throw a body kick, Selikhov would catch it and throw a right, let go of the leg, and then as soon as he'd let go of the leg, Elder would like do a spinning back fist. But no matter what it was, the one or the other, they always wanted to be the last one to finish with the strike in every single exchange, and I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, because I mean, you talk about on a large scale, you want to put a stamp on a round, right? You want to like be the last impression of the round, have a big moment at the end of the round to sway the judges. But that should carry into the fight on a smaller scale too, and not just per round, but for every exchange. You want to be the guy who at the end of exchange, maybe I got hit first, but maybe my counter will be the last impression of this exchange, and that was pretty much the whole fight was them
And
doing that.
That's kind of the urgency that we talked about that some of the first fights were lacking, where
Yeah.
these guys had the urgency in every exchange.
Yeah, they did. And Nazim is a pretty hot prospect. I think a lot of people expected him to kind of run through Evan Elder in this fight because he's out of the Ray Longo gym and he's very promising skill-wise and has a ton of experience already. But Evan Elder, man, just proved that he like fully deserves to be here. And it's not going to be easy. And this is a good fight for both of them. With Nazim, it's like, okay, now I've dealt with adversity, a very tough fight, and got a win out of it. So I'm very because like you don't really learn much until you face adversity, you know. So I'm expecting pretty big things out of him for this next fight. Even though he was down on the scorecards before this cut, he was going to lose this fight. If
Warning,
it went to decision.
graphic image, everyone.
Yeah.
There's a picture of Evan Elder with the cut that made the doctor stop the fight.
Quickest stoppage you've seen?
Gash. Oh man, he walked up and just looked at it and goes, "Oh yeah, no, yeah, we're stopping it."
Yeah.
Like that.
He's like, all right.
And it's in Vegas.
Oh, so
and it's in Vegas.
And that's the move, I think. He was up on the scorecards. I think all three judges had him winning both first two rounds.
Wow.
So it sucks to get out like that from a cut.
But this was due to a legit strike, though.
There's some question about that. It's hard to tell. The replay
Rich,
really doesn't show.
Last picture.
It was either a high kick.
Picture. No, not that one. It was the. Did I miss the high kick one? Because I had a picture of them in the high kick.
I watched it again this morning, and the high kick. It looks like maybe the knee touches him, but then right after that, they looked like they might have clashed heads twice in the clinch exchange right after the kick.
And so it's kind of hard to say.
Hard to say, but regardless, the fight should have been stopped. Once that cut is starting to go onto the actual eyelid, I mean, we can't have that.
Yeah,
can't have that. That's way too gnarly.
Yeah, you can't blink and then your eyes still be able to see. You know.
Yeah, close your eye and you're still seeing through it. They're like, all right. They're like, let's see let's do the finger test, and he's like,
Yeah, I can see everything.
Yeah, but shout out Ray Longo too. After the second round in the corner, did you hear him?
No, what'd he say?
He's all, I have it 1-1, but who the fuck knows? As like they're like getting ready. So funny.
Oh, I love Ray Longo, man.
Yeah, but yeah, this is one of those fights where
saying unfortunate cut. Both guys look great. They really did.
This is one of those fights where both their stock goes up. I mean, both these guys. I'm very, very excited to see the next.
There's no loser here.
No loser except for the guy who got half his paycheck.
Yeah, and who took the L on the.
But he might have got a bonus.
Yeah, maybe. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Hey, shout out Ronnie. Dude, it's been a minute, Ronnie. Hope all is well, dude. Hope all is well. All right, let's see. We also had Maida Bueno Silva versus Lena Landsberg.
Yeah, interesting, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
Famous last words on commentators is kind of interesting to see her go back into the realm of danger when she goes back into the grappling.
Dude. So there's levels. You know, and I know that both of these women are ranked. We're also talking about the 135-pound division, though. And
Yikes.
I think about like some of the fighters that use mummy guard very effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like the example I always give is DC.
Yeah, the best of all time at it.
One of the best, right? And then you have Lena Landsberg, who comes in with mummy guard, but as she walks in, she does this. She puts her head down, and she's walking with her hands. So it almost looks like she's trying to push away and avoid damage. But what's the purpose? What's the goal? What are we trying to get out of this, right?
Yeah.
Are you hand fighting to try to avoid a shot? Are you hand fighting and then throwing in a quick elbow or landing a quick what's the goal? And
Yeah,
sometimes I think the goal is just like get away.
The goal for her is the elbows. She does have good elbows, but she just wasn't getting them off in this fight.
It's hard to see where the elbows are going if you're putting your head down like that, though. You know what I mean? That's what made me think, like, is that the goal? I don't think the goal is for the elbows.
Well, I think the goal is for the elbows, but not everybody has the vision. You know, if we go back, Rich, there's that picture of Evan Elder throwing the right hand from the last fight. It's like a big overhand right hand that he's throwing. That one. Look at his eyes. Look at Evan Elder's eyes.
Locked in the target.
Yeah, you think about Bruce Leroy when he got that high kick knockout he just had, where it looks like he swung wild. Yeah, it looks like he swung wild over with the overhand that missed, and he carried his whole weight over, but then he throws the high kick up. If you watch that again, even though he looks like he swung wild, his eyes are completely on target the whole time for that high kick. You have to have the vision to land those shots. And yeah, putting your head down to land elbows, not always going to work.
It's tough. It's tough, but I mean, it is what it is. You can't.
Yeah, shout out HW Comer says good guy Lena went back in for the submission so that we didn't have to suffer anymore watching that fight. It was pretty bad, man. And shout out to Lena. She's had a long career. She retired after this fight. So shout out to her. But yeah, I mean, good finish for Buena Silva. She's got good jiu-jitsu, man.
Buena Silva.
And then she calls out, who did she even call out? The post-fight interview was bizarre to me. She calls out like Miesha Tate, and she's like, but I think she's retired. So maybe Jessica Penne. And it's like, what is this division? It's 2023, and we're calling out Miesha Tate and Jessica Penne. What's happening?
I don't know, man. I mean,
what a division.
Just look at some of Bueno Silva's wins, right? Jillian Robertson by armbar.
That's very impressive.
Yeah, by armbar. Let's see here. Stephanie Yeager, armbar.
That was a nasty one. Remember that one?
Yeah. So, I mean, she's got some serious ground game, man.
Yeah, and she's only lost to Marina Moroz and Manon Fiorot. So, not bad names to lose to.
Manon Fiorot, no.
That was a funny fight, though. Remember, it was just Fiorot just out striking her, and Mayra Bueno Silva's like, come on, and just getting hit.
yeah.
Like the whole fight. It's like, what's happening?
Oh, I love it.
What a division.
What a division. A lot of fun.
I think that was at 125.
Want to go over to the next fight, though?
Yeah, this was a fun
these
one.
Fights right now.
Yeah, I mean, this was a fun one right here.
Jamal Emmers. Jamal Emmers versus Askabov. I'm not going to try to say the first name. Kusain. Yes, Kusain Askabov.
Yeah, this was there's levels to this type of fight because Askabov.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, there's levels, but 23-0 coming in, right?
23-0, but there was in the MMA community a lot of debate about this guy coming into this fight because he's 23-0.
TMZ will.
TMZ will, yeah. Okay, so 23-0, right? Has like 4 million followers on Instagram. People are like, he's legit. He's legit. Most people think they're all fake. And
Bots?
if we look at the records of the guys he's beaten, last win, the guy was so he was 22-0 in his last fight, right? Became 23-0. Guy he beat 3-0. Guy before that 7-0. Guy before that 10-4. That's a pretty good win. Guy before that 25-13. But if you look at the way he started his career, he made his debut against a guy who was 1-1, 0-1, no record. A debut, 0-3, 2-1, debut, 1-0, 0-1, 2-2. So
they took the boxer approach with this guy.
They took the boxer approach, and I mean, he's it's hard, right? Because that happens in that part of the world, right? People say that all the time about like Khabib and stuff. Oh, the padded record, the 30-0, or 29-0, or whatever it is. But a lot of those guys are nobodies. It's like, yeah, but then he fought Justin Gaethje, then he fought Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier. Like, I mean, he fought the guys, so we know he's legit. So you really can't question those records about these guys. He's from Chechnya, he's not from Dagestan, but you can't really question the record until they lose. But this was the test to see if that record was legit or not, and it was not. because the whole time it looked like he was just trying to throw like one big shot, and Emmers was just styling on him the whole fight. Just he got nothing off except for that one high kick from the with his back on the ground,
Like that up kick, high kick combo thing.
Pretty sick.
That was awesome. And then Emmers was like, okay, I'll give that to you. He's like,
that was pretty cool.
That was cool.
Went back to work.
Yeah, and in the process of trying to land that one big shot that you mentioned, he just found himself off balance so often. And Emmers, with his great footwork, just foundationally sound, it was just in the perfect position every single time. You know, Escobar would try to do this wild, head kick and just end up in a weird position. And Emmers like, all right, and just like clocked him.
Here's a straight punch.
Yeah. So I don't want to say it was an easy fight for Emmers.
He looked very good though.
But yes. And then Escobar put on such a high pace in the beginning. And the one that suffered from the high pace at the end was Escobar, because the second half of the second round on, you could see that he started laboring. His shots were labored. And third round comes around, and he's going for some. He's shooting from a distance. It's very easy for Emmers to sprawl and gain position. And over here, you see him get full mount. This reminds me of like a big brother. On a little bro, and the little bro's like, dude, just get off me, and Emmers just cocking back to just land one shot. Yeah, exactly. But hey, maybe he learns from this and says, I need to go back to Chechnya and find another 20 guys in their debut and come back and be better.
Yeah, I'll come back 40-0 and then, or 40-1, and then maybe then I'll win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but props for Jamal Emmers because he looked very good. Just really good game plan. Stuck to the game plan. Really didn't show any holes this whole fight. He looked really good.
Like it. And he said he wants to come back in April. Fight back in April.
Dude, people forget he had a pretty competitive fight with Giga Chikadze, and I think he even has a win over Corey Sandhagen, doesn't he? Didn't he beat him?
Stand by. I'm checking right now.
Stand by, everybody. We're gonna find this out here.
Giga Chikadze lost. Vince Cachero, he beat him unanimous decision. Lost to Pat Sabatini due to a heel hook, and then just beat Escobar.
Yeah, but he beat Corey Sandhagen back in LFA a long time ago, but that aged well, right?
That's a long time ago.
Dude, yeah. Speak of a long time ago, man. This next fight makes you want to feel old.
All right, hey. We'll talk about it then. Nice transition. Alvin St. Preux versus Philip Lins.
Lins is good, man. He doesn't fight often enough to I think stay relevant in people's minds, but he's showed a lot of promise in some of his fights. I don't know how old OSP is now, but he's 39, so same age as Jim Miller, and just had nothing for him. Lins just kind of came out, and that's what you have to do. You have to, against a guy who's had a very long career. You have to just blitz him and hope that you just burn through him, because Owen St. Preux basically, he did a decent job defending for a little bit. He blocked some shots, but he pretty much just shelled up the entire fight. And then as soon as he stopped shelling up, he got dropped. Yeah.
So Lins was reacting to every feint heavily. And there's a couple reasons. It can be one or two reasons, right? Either somebody's coming in saying hey, this person has a serious weapon, whether it's a right hand, a leg kick, whatever it may be, and I have to be very careful of even threaten with that weapon. And sometimes they're like, we watch so much film and they have such a huge tell that we have an opportunity whenever this fighter does that. And this was one of those cases, right? Because Alvin St. Preux is so lazy with that left leg kick that he just goes in, hands down, lazy. And that was all that Lins was waiting for. He was just waiting. So every time that he was feigning a kick, there's a big reaction. And it wasn't because he was scared. It was like, oh, am I good? No, not yet. Oh, this is not yet. Yeah. And there it is. Let me drop him. And he hits him with that left right on the jaw. And it was game over. But it was just a patient display by Lins.
Yeah, patient until he needed to go. Because once he went, it was he didn't stop. He just kept going.
Again, not to go back and compare, right? But you take a look at was it Pauga that we're talking about, right? With that killer instinct. And sometimes you just wish you see a little bit more of that killer instinct,
It's that extra gear when the
Yeah.
opening is there, because like that's the balance, right? We say all the time, like, oh, he had him hurt, but he was so patient about it and methodical that he didn't overexert himself in that moment. But there's a fine line of going too hard and blowing your gas tank for a finish, and then you lose yourself. And then there's on the other end of the spectrum is not even, it doesn't seem like you even recognized that you hurt him. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So there's a fine
Absolutely.
line there. But yeah, I mean, shout out to Philip Leans. But I saw someone say, like, man, it's just crazy to see OSP like this getting knocked out on the prelims in the first round when, I mean, the man fought John Jones in a main event on a pay-per-view. Dude, that seems like that was John's comeback, right? That was John's comeback after testing
Yeah.
positive. Seems like not that long ago. You want to know how long ago that was?
5 years,
Dude, that was
if I had to guess.
2016.
Oh,
That was 7 years ago.
wow.
Not only that, this was OSP's 16th fight since that fight. He had a whole career in between that John Jones fight and this. That blows my mind.
That is insane.
That is crazy to me.
Yeah, and I remember that because I remember DC saying if I would have fought that John Jones, I would have won.
Yeah,
I would have
she
beat
would've
that
won.
John Jones.
Yeah. What do
And
they say?
then,
If my grandma had wheels, she'd be a bicycle.
wait, what? Is that a
You
real
never heard
saying?
that? Yeah.
No. Oh, do you want
It's
me to
like
use that?
it's like, oh, if that was me in that situation, I totally it's like, yeah, but it wasn't. So you didn't, and you did lose and you
The
fought him.
classic, if there was another round.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Dude, Nate
funny.
Diaz, he would have beat Leon Edwards if there was a 6th round.
Nate Diaz said that too.
If Volkanovski had taken 5 more rounds against Islam, he would have won. Like, yeah, but it's a 5-round fight.
That's hilarious. All right, man. I guess we can go
Shout out
on
to OSP.
to
Long career.
administrative now.
Yeah, real quick, just quick shout out to AJ Fletcher. He got one back on Themba there he hit him with a nasty elbow and got the finish. The first 2 fights were quick, not much to really talk about, but they were good finishes. So shout out to Clayton Carpenter and AJ Fletcher.
Clayton Carpenter now 7-0. Fighting UFC competition.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
Chechnyan debuts. All right.
Yeah.
Yes, moment of silence, Will.
Yeah, so Themba was supposed to fight Billy Goff. Goff withdrew. AJ Fletcher steps in, finishes him. So that's a tough go. It's always tough, right? We always talk about that when your opponent pulls out, so you take a short notice replacement and then you lose. That's a bummer. Mearshart was supposed to fight Magomedov. Magomedov had visa issues. Jim Miller was originally
Mearshart,
supposed to fight.
another one of those that went up against your boy, and I don't think
And
he hit him once, right?
Did not hit him once. Got not and didn't get taken down. Just got flatlined by a punch. One punch
Yeah.
knockout.
Good times.
Carlson Harris was supposed to fight Ramiz Brahimaj. I would have liked to see that fight. I think Ramiz is very promising. Chito Vera versus Corey Sandhagen obviously would have made this card amazing, but don't put them in the Apex. That's stupid. So they did the right thing there. Put them on
That
another
rescheduled
card.
smart, yes.
Yeah. Jim Miller was originally supposed to fight Gabriel Benitez, and probably I think would have had a better night if he fought Benitez versus Alex Hernandez.
Probably.
But if DC fought that version of John Jones, he would have won. So it doesn't matter. Originally, the main event was supposed to be Tyler Santos versus Erin Blanchfield. That would have been awesome. But the reason was Santos, her husband, and her head coach couldn't get visas. So she was like, I'm not going to fight without them, which I understand. But then the big one for me, honestly, was Joe Solecki versus Saint Denis. That fight would have been so sick. And,
Benoit Saint Denis, yes.
so
One of the
fun
best
to
names out
watch.
there.
And Selecki, I mean, he's a banger too, you know. So like this fight would have been so sick, and this card needed that fight, and
Yeah,
it
it
didn't
did.
happen. It's a bummer.
It did. Well, I guess we could talk about bonuses now, monies.
Yeah, bonuses. Let's see. Blanchfield gets one for running through Andrade, and
I like
then
that.
yeah, Myra Buena Silva gets one for the leg lock of the knee bar. I forgot what it was.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
but she deserved that, I think. Go ahead.
Where's the bonus for Linz, though? You know?
I mean, he knocked out 40-year-old OSP who had a
Yeah,
whole
but
career after his
still.
John Jones fight. Yeah, I know you get it. I think everybody who gets a finish should get. We talked about that. Sadikov versus Elder got fight of the night, obviously. So at least he didn't make his extra probably 12K for getting the win, Elder, but he got extra 50K. So that's nice.
There we go. Makes up for it.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, man. Shout out HLB Comer for joining us once again. Ronnie
Shout out
for
Ronnie.
making a quick appearance. Shout out Rush listening at home as well. But yeah, if anybody has friends that like MMA, just let them know about this podcast.
Tell your family.
Tell your family, yeah. Tell Grandma Jean, about the podcast. Just anybody. And tell them to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And maybe Grandma Jean doesn't like watching, but she has her radio or her, or something. I don't know.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere. Tell Grandma Jean to look us up, all right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, next week. You need to talk about the UFOs. It's wild out there right now. Have you been following that?
You guys know more.
You guys know more?
No, the best though is that we shot down a science project as well.
Yeah.
Did you see
Was
that
it a
one?
science project or was it a UFO? I mean, I guess it could have been a UFO. It was a UFO until we found out it was a science project. That's how that works.
HLB cover says, "Rich, tell us." Rich is in the know of all these things. But yeah, what is storyofthefight.com?
Storyofthefight.com. We are very close. I got pretty far in creating the Discord. Just working on a few more things before we make it public to everybody, but that's close. That's gonna be fun. I think having everybody in the Discord.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, there's some things to look out for that. We'll have like there will be a page in there for like Q&A. So I'm hoping people will ask questions in there, like after the fights and stuff, they can ask questions, and then we can have a segment like on the show going through those questions about that card every week.
Oh, that'd be sick.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
HB Comer says can't say anything. I understand.
Wink, wink.
Hey, this is live. This is the whole world can see this. We got to be as the X-Files music plays.
Yeah. No, and then merch is pretty close.
Merch is very close. Yeah, the beanies, the shirts. We're literally just waiting on the getting like actual photos of the shirts on regular people and
hey,
not
Brian,
like
come on, Brian.
Yeah.
Let's go, Brian.
Yeah. Come on, Brian.
All right. That's all I got this week.
Yeah, next week we got on Friday, we got one Friday Fight Night 7 now. It's not on Prime anymore, is what they call it. It's still on Prime, but it's not called on Prime. Lineker versus Andrade 2. Danielle Kelly's on the card.
It's gonna be good, man.
Tawan Chai's on the card. It's a sick card. And then we have UFC Vegas 70. Your boy Ghost Pepper's on there. Tapology doesn't have him on there because they're dumb sometimes, but he's on there. He just had an opponent change. They took a short notice fight. It's a decent card. I'm happy to see Andre Muniz, BKFC. Was it BKFC that Greg Hardy just got knocked out on?
Yes, it was.
Shout out BKFC, just giving everybody what they want to see.
Yeah,
the nasty.
Yeah.
Same
League
same
of the People.
Same exchange that Taito Ivasa knocked out Greg Hardy with. But yeah, he was completely flatlined maybe even looking at his opponent.
Hey, PFL Challenger Series, by the way, coming up, and Desiree Yanis from the Fort Worth area will be fighting. Yeah, little cutie pie, and she will be on the card.
Yes. Will I watch it? Probably not. But
hey, dude, support Fort Worth, bro. Come on, what's wrong with you?
I don't even live there. Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann is a really good fight. Muniz versus Brendan Allen's a really good fight. Augusto Sakai versus Dontel Mays could be better. But there's some good fights on this card, dude. Mike Mallett's on there. He's fun.
Oh, again, our boy Ghost Pepper.
They bumped Ghost Pepper to the main card. That's what's up. Let's go. Jordan Levitt's
7-0 Trevor Peak, huh?
Yeah. Ooh, Ode Osborne's on the card. He's must watch in my opinion. They moved Joe Solecki. He's fighting Carl Deaton. Yeah, Jastovicius is on there.
Tatiana Suarez?
Wait, what? Is she actually?
Tatiana Suarez?
Wow.
The return? Let's go.
This is an interesting card, dude. This is an interesting card.
Game changer, though. With Tatiana Suarez being back in the mix?
Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
I'm excited for that one.
Hey,
man.
all of a sudden, we got Tatiana Suarez back. If she comes back anywhere near what she was like when she left, we have her, Blanchfield, Tyler Santos, Alexa Grasso.
We got ourselves something.
All of a sudden, this division's looking a little bit better.
There's
no bantamweight, but
I love it. All right.
Yeah.
And then after this one, we also have that's the John Jones card, right?
Yeah.
So on the 4th. On the 4th, yeah. So we got some good stuff coming up. Return
of the GOAT? Question mark?
Question mark? As long as there's no picogram incidents, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
We should see that fight go down. Thank you to everybody.
Let's be real.
who tunes
Even
in
if there
and
are
listens.
picogram incidents,
They'll
we'll
still
be
let it
fine.
happen.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, by the way, in case you didn't know, this podcast produced by Richard Bustos. Just so you know. Hey, there it is.